I mean, let's get right into this one. My Canadian brother, John Makdessi, UFC veteran, MMA veteran, whatever you want to call him. He's absolutely been around for some of the best fights. I think that when you look back at his career, some of the he's only been finished twice. And the best part about it is that they're against two phenomenal strikers. So I'm sure you guys can remember the Donald Cerrone finish. That one was insane. He took the kick. The sound was crazy loud. And then you just see John Makdessi wave the fight off, come to know that right away, broken jaw. We know that that happened in the fight. Could not continue. Cerrone throws up one of these. The sound was heard around the world. I thought that was just the guy's just a gamer, right? He's one of those guys that's willing to take a beating, put on a show. I think that there's just moments where, those kicks get the best of him. So let's get, into this with who he's fighting. Kicks are probably not the thing you want to fear the most, but the way Venata landed that spinning wheel kick, we talked about he was circling, then boom, cracked it, timed it perfectly. So little things like that kind of get you wondering, when it comes to keeping his hands up and circling, he seems very susceptible to the high kicks. And Ignacio Bahamondes definitely likes to throw some high kicks. So when you look at the win that he pulled off against Gomez on the Dana White Contender Series, I mean, it was, I guess, an inevitable type of finish, right? He looked so good. Striking was crisp. The jabs, everything was just perfect. But for me, it's the kicks, because I think in this fight, when you really focus on what Makdessi likes to do, let's use the Francisco Trinaldo fight as an example. He was trying to circle around a lot. Francisco Trinaldo is not a shy fighter. He's really good at getting in and getting out, imposing a bit of a, dominant type of striking game and pull back out. He's got a great, clinch game that he can work up against the fence, use his strength. He's always got good length, and he kind of operates like a long fighter. And in that fight, you kind of saw Makdessi take a back seat to his game plan and just fight the fight out. Like, that's really what I was watching, and couldn't get anything off, wasn't really answering much in the first two rounds. And when you look at the way this fight kind of shapes out, it's not the best opportunity for him, because we're looking at a guy who's going to be trying to throw and land a lot of lengthy kicks, whether it's to the bottom, to the top, it doesn't matter. He's going to be landing. So Makdessi's going to need to do what he can to get in close and maybe even get this fight to the ground. Because the one thing I'm kind of noticing here is when you look at some of these big strikers, even for a Makdessi fight, I think that even though he likes to use his hands so much, getting this fight to the ground, getting it up against the fence, doing things like that, not fighting your opponent's game plan is probably the smarter way to go here. And I think that when you're looking at his experience in the octagon, we just said, man, only been finished 3 times, and the last time he was submitted was 10 years ago. So when it comes to confidence on the ground, when it comes to confidence in scrambling, I think he's got it. I just don't want to see him stand there like we normally do and just kind of fight a striker's fight against a guy who's a really good striker. And if he gets knocked by a third head kick, it's just one of those things where you don't want to see it. As a Canadian fighter, I got a little soft corner for him. But even outside of that, I think I would have the same feeling for anyone who kind of has that similar flaw in his game and hasn't really found a way to change that, because, being an older fighter who's been around for so long, it's habitual, right? Things are like that, especially once you're in there. I'm sure that's the case for a lot of fighters, but in this case, I think that what's the best way to avoid getting the kicks, right? Get in there close, make him do some dirty boxing. If you want to throw hands, but I just think, keeping this fight at the distance for any amount of time is a terrible, terrible decision for John. And when you look at what Bahamondes is able to do at distance, just constant missile-style punches, right? Following it up with kicks. He attacks the legs so well. And I just think a veteran like Makdessi is probably not even going to be used to the amount of pace and versatility that's going to be coming at him right now, because he's going to be kind of counter-striking. He's going to be kind of moving so much, but with this kind of length, his movement's going to be kind of irrelevant unless he's, almost 2-3 feet away from him. And then he's not really doing anything. So in this case, having that confidence, being able to kind of slip those kicks and get in close, get a good clinch in, maybe work the fight to the ground and just grind him out. I think that's his best bet to get this fight in terms of a victory. But like we said, Ignacio Bahamondes is no joke. I think the highlight reel speaks for itself. And if he's able to pull off another one and hand Makdessi another, third loss via kicks, it's going to be something special. And I think that Ignacio is going to do everything he can to kind of pull this one off, because he's a guy to really look out for, and I'm excited to watch him fight.